Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on FNAF. Wow, what a week it has been. We got the FNAF anniversary this week and all of that FNAF Plus stuff was insane. If you haven't checked out my reaction video to the FNAF Plus short film that came out, please go check it out. That thing was insane. And a little bit of personal news, I'm actually in the process of moving for school. So I will be going back and forth from this setup and my setup over there. So no worries, you will still see this room. But I have a new setup that's coming at school that will be pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Just want to let you know, just in case the setting changed and you're like, what the heck is going on? So yeah, let me know how you guys are doing. How is your summer going? Are you excited for school? I know you're probably not, but you know, hang in there. It's going to be okay. Let me know how you're doing in the comments below. I will be reading the comments and replying to as many as I can. In this video, we have a lot of FNAF news to talk about. We have some things that were released on the FNAF anniversary that I never really mentioned, and we have some pretty big news articles coming out from some prestigious news websites about FNAF, specifically about FNAF Security Breach and the future of the FNAF movie that I really want to dive into because they're really interesting. So make sure you watch to the end of the video so you're updated on every single piece of FNAF news that has come out recently. Also, make sure to subscribe. Why not? It's free. You can undo it whenever you want, and I only post FNAF stuff. It's called FNAF for a reason. First up, we have some more FNAF Plus stuff that was released on the anniversary that I never really got to. We have some really creepy screenshots from the game that were released. We have Bonnie and Chica here and the cupcake with a mustache and a cook uniform. Next up, we have a ball pit and we have Bonnie peeking out over here. I can't tell if this is an image on the arcade machine or that's actually Bonnie inside the arcade machine, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But FNAF has a thing for ball pits. If you know Into the Pit, the Fazbear Fright story, or Daco's song, you would know what this means. It's very interesting that we have a ball pit in this game. And then finally, we have Foxy. We never really got a good look at Foxy from this game until the anniversary of FNAF, and Foxy looks great. Kind of looks just like the original FNAF 1 Foxy, except their eyeballs are like pool balls. You know, like, what's it called? The pool ball names. The cue ball. It's called the cue ball. Okay, their eyeballs look like cue balls, like in pool, like the big white balls. I'm gonna stop saying that. It's just terrifying. Where are the pupils? I'm confused. They also released Help Wanted, FNAF Plus number 6B. It is the hidden video that was hidden inside the original short film that someone found. It was really hard to find. I don't even think someone found it like organically through the video. I think someone just found it by like hacking something, I'm pretty sure. So if you want to check out this video, the link will be in the description. There's a cute little song behind it, so make sure to check it out. Give them support and subscribe. So yeah, that is all for the FNAF Plus news. Let's move on to the next piece of news. Here we go. Nixon is the developer of some great, probably some of the best FNAF fan games ever made. I don't know if you remember Those Nights at Rachel's or A Joy of Creation, just some of the amazing games that this person has made. Nixon was tweeting about the FNAF anniversary saying there wasn't really much going on with the FNAF anniversary other than the FNAF Plus teaser, and I can really agree, we didn't really get much, but it's the tweet under the FNAF anniversary tweet that I am excited about. Also, I've lately had the pleasure to use Unreal Engine 5 on Evil Nun The Broken Mask, and it's been a blast. Very fun project to work on. Can't wait to get back to Ignited Collection when that's allowed again and create my most next-gen looking FNAF project yet. So, Nixon, the creator of some of the best FNAF fan games, probably the best FNAF fan games in my opinion, is going to use Unreal Engine 5 to make the most next-gen looking FNAF project yet. I am so excited about this. I don't know if it's just me, but this is like the biggest news that I've heard so far of this week. It's like insane. So on to one of the bigger pieces of news. Newsweek, a really big news website, posted an article about Security Breach titled, "Is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Cancelled?" And I thought this was a really interesting article because, you know, is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach canceled? I was kind of questioning it when they posted this, and I thought I'd read it for you because I thought it was pretty interesting, their take on this. First, they talk about what is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. I'm sure you all know what Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is, so I don't need to explain it to you. They go on to say, since the breakout success of the first game in 2014, a sequel has been produced nearly every single year, with the exception of 2020. Sometimes entries were turned around in even quicker succession, like when Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and Five Nights at Freddy's 4 came out within mere months of each other. The franchise arguably became a victim of its own hype and overexposure, as these later releases were only incremental upgrades at best and never quite tapped into the same cultural zeitgeist. announced. Yet there was a little more buzz around Security Breach, which would have been the series' 10th game in just 7 years. For a start, it was going to represent a significant technical upgrade given that it was planned to launch on the PS5 with real-time ray tracing capabilities. Not only that, but it also looked considerably more ambitious than the other sequels, as it allowed the player to explore a much larger area. Previous entries in the mainline Five Nights at Freddy's series had you confined to an office in a Chuck E. Cheese style entertainment center. There they explain Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and then they say Security Breach promised to breathe new life into the IP by letting you actually walk around the world for a change. No longer confined to a desk, you would need to avoid the animatronics through careful stealth or by running away. And then they get into Scott and why he retired. I'm gonna skip this part, but they mostly mention like, could Scott retiring affect Security Breach? I don't think so at all. Yet, Cawthon has reassured fans that he will be handing the reins of the franchise over to somebody else. While it's unclear if Cawthon's successor will be restarting from scratch or if they will complete any remaining work on Security Breach, it will surely come as a relief for fans to learn that Five Nights at Freddy's has not yet run its course. In short, there is a good chance that Security Breach will eventually see the light of day, although it is reasonable to assume that it might be postponed a little because of this development. So that is the article from Newsweek. I really like to report on articles like this because this is kind of a big news outlet, and them talking about Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is kind of interesting. I think their take on this is a little bit off. I think Scott retiring will not have that much of an effect on Security Breach. It might be delayed even more, but I trust Steelwool that they'll keep us updated. I hope we get an update soon. Steelwool Studios, if you're listening, please could we have an update? I thought they brought up some interesting points and perspectives, and I always want there to be different perspectives on my channel, so let me know what you think about that. Do you think Security Breach is going to be canceled? Do you think it's going to be delayed? Do you think it's going to come out on time? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move on to the next piece of news. Here we go. Even bigger article from Looper. Why we're worried about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. When I saw this, I was shocked. I was like, we haven't heard anything about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I thought. Right? So let's get into the article a little bit. First, they explain what Five Nights at Freddy's is, and then they say, to say that Five Nights at Freddy's became a phenomenon would be an understatement. The game and its sequels inspired waves of fanfiction and fan art, merchandise, and even a series of novels aimed at young readers. Five Nights at Freddy's creator Scott Cawthon took advantage of a sudden indie game fame and cashed in, but he may never see the film adaptation come to light. There are several reasons you should be worried about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So it looks like we're in on an interesting article. Let's read on. One of the reasons they say is the Five Nights at Freddy's hype has largely passed. Even though many fans are still excited for upcoming games like Security Breach, the widespread excitement over everything related to Five Nights at Freddy's has largely died down. Some fans have argued on Reddit that the franchise is still going strong and that Five Nights at Freddy's content just doesn't land on the front page of YouTube anymore. Public acknowledgement of the franchise does indicate popularity to some degree though, and Five Nights at Freddy's doesn't have the same shelf appeal as it once did. This is where I think I'm gonna have to step in and disagree. I think Five Nights at Freddy's definitely not as popular as when the first game came out, and when Markiplier put out that first playthrough, it was at its peak around like FNAF 3. That's when FNAF was at its peak. Right now, I think the hype for FNAF is still there. I mean, with all of these huge Minecraft YouTubers playing FNAF on Twitch, FNAF is still very much alive. I'm pretty sure it's like the 8th most played game on YouTube. I think they're kind of underestimating the popularity of FNAF, but we will read on. Here we go. Next, they have a long time no update. Movies take a long time to make, but it's been years since the Five Nights at Freddy's film was announced, and production has been slow. Cawthon posted about his experience with the Five Nights at Freddy's script, which took years to complete. The film went through several drafts before Cawthon settled on one, and basic film prep like casting couldn't be completed until the crew knew what kind of screenplay they were working with. Blumhouse tweeted in November 2020 claiming that filming on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie would begin in spring of 2021. As of now, the film's IMDb page lists no cast, and news of filming hasn't been publicized. Considering how excited Blumhouse and Cawthon seemed about the project, the lack of news might indicate that something else is going on with the production. In fact, bigger news overshadowed the film adaptation in spring of 2021. So what they're basically saying is that there's no news about the FNAF movie. Literally nothing. No cast on IMDb. I think Blumhouse, they usually keep their filmings very under wraps. They are a smaller film studio that makes great movies on a budget. I'm not shocked that we haven't heard anything about this. I imagine this film film is going to be mostly filmed in one location, and it's very easy to keep that under wraps when you're filming that because you're just in one location. It's not like a Marvel movie where you have to do all of these incredible stunts on these sound stages and all that kind of stuff. This is a lot easier to keep under wraps, and I'm not surprised that we haven't heard anything. So they say that as a bad thing. I say that as a good thing. I think it's a good thing that we haven't heard anything, because if we did hear something, it probably would have been that it was canceled. And then they talk about the Scott controversy and how Scott's controversy maybe affected the FNAF movie. I don't see that as being a possibility. I think we're so far into the process of the FNAF movie that, you know, the contracts have been signed. They should have been almost done filming by the time the controversy happened. So I don't think they're just going to throw away everything that they filmed. And then they talk about Willy's Wonderland and how that may affect the performance of the FNAF movie, because apparently Nicolas Cage beat everyone to it. They say it's unclear whether there's enough room in film for 2 creepy animatronic movies. Considering Cawthon's involvement with the Five Nights at Freddy's screenplay, it's possible that the official adaptation won't make some of the wild moves Willy's Wonderland does, which could turn off viewers. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think FNAF would be very successful if it was rated R. When you make a movie rated R, you are immediately restricting the money you make on that movie. Most of Blumhouse's movies are PG-13 anyways, and you can really make a good horror movie that's PG-13. Some of my favorite horror movies are PG-13 and don't have much gore and don't have much, you know, nudity and stuff like that. You don't need any of that stuff to make a good movie. So I don't think the fact that the FNAF movie probably is going to be less gory than Willy's Wonderland is going to have any effect on the FNAF movie. If anything, that would be a better thing, in my opinion. So no word on if the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is canceled or not, and I think that's a good thing. I would say it's not canceled, most likely. I'm going to say the filming is done, and they just kept it really under wraps, and they were just really good at keeping it under wraps. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the FNAF movie is going to be canceled? Do you think it's going to release next year? Do you think it's going to release this year? That's all the news I have for you today. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and hit that post notification bell so you know the next time I post a brand new video. I appreciate all of your support so much, every single one of you. You make my dreams come true every day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye. Bye.